Welcome to the Mindfulness Meditation Podcast presented by the Rubin Museum of Himalayan Art, a global museum dedicated to bringing greater awareness and understanding of Himalayan art to people around the world. I'm your host, Tashi Chudran. Every Thursday, we offer a meditation session at New York Insight Meditation Center that draws inspiration from an artwork from the Rubens collection and is led by a prominent meditation teacher. This podcast is a recording of our weekly in-person practice. The description of each episode includes information about the theme for that week's session and an image of the related artwork. Our Mindfulness Meditation Podcast is presented in partnership with Sharon Salzberg and teachers from the New York Insight Meditation Center, the Interdependence Project, and Parabola Magazine, and supported by the Frederick P. Lenz Foundation for American Buddhism. And now, please enjoy your practice. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, and Tashi Delek. Welcome to the Rubin Museum of Himalayan Art's Mindfulness Meditation Program here at this beautiful place at New York Insight Meditation Center. I'm Tashi Chudran, Himalayan Programs and Communities Ambassador, and I'm delighted to be your host today. The Rubin is a global museum dedicated to Himalayan art and its insights, and we're so glad to have all of you join us for this weekly program where we combine art and meditation. Inspired by our collection, we will first take a deep look at the work of art chosen by our teacher, Michel Pascal. So wonderful to have you back. And then we will have a short set, about 15 to 20 minutes for the meditation guided by him. Let's take a look at today's theme and artwork. So the artwork for today's session is this beautiful stacked up called Mandala Offering Set. Origin Central Tibet, dated mid-20th century, gilt silver. This is about 10.5 into 5.5 into 5.5 inches. And it's a ritual object. So now the word mandala or mandala, in Tibetan, it's called Kilkor, basically means perfect center and circle. It is a visualization aid to reach your goal, the center, which is awakening or enlightenment. But this particular mandala is a ritual object which is often used in the making offerings, and the connection to the theme generosity, when a practitioner with heaps of rice, and sometimes you'll find flowers, semi-precious stones, coins, as you see here, lots of rice. Each level of the set with both hands holding it, they symbolize offering the entire universe to the three jewels, the teacher, the Sangha, the assembly. So the practice of giving opens our hearts and fosters a sense of appreciation and gratitude. So there is so much symbolic meaning in each of these stacks and the directions of different cardinals. But in a simple form, the mandala offering is a symbolic offering made by Tibetan Buddhist practitioners. And the mandala offering also symbolizes the offering of the entire universe, including all materials and spiritual possessions to the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, visible and invisible deities. And the act of giving is conducted for the purpose of purification and the accumulation of merit. It is beneficial in training the mind to let go of attachment and self-centeredness by practicing generosity. Okay, now let's bring on our teacher for today. Our teacher is Michel Pascal. Michel is a meditation teacher for 25 years and has led successful programs for prisoners which help prevent suicides and reduce reoffending. He's written 20 books on spirituality, including meditation for daily stress, 10 practices for immediate well-being, known as the medicine voice. He's performed at Carnegie Hall and played at the Peace Day concert in Times Square in 2023. And in December 2023, he presented his methods at the United Nations. Michel will be performing again at Carnegie Hall in January of 2026. please help me in welcoming Michel Pascal. Thank you.
I am so happy to be here with Tashi, Jacqueline, with each of you for the Rubin Museum, for the most important thing that we need to do today, especially in New York, to quiet the mind. This is the most important. All our life depends on our calming mind. Our health depends on our calming mind. Our relationships with our friends, with the people that we love, depends on our calming mind. Our work, our success, our project, our creativity, all depends on our calming mind. If we are stressed, nothing can work. So it's a privilege for me to teach again for the last time for the Rubin here after we go back to the Rubin Theater, but to be here with you. And first I would like to sing for you the mantra who will open my next concert at Carnegie Hall. January 11, we will celebrate my 10 years concert at Carnegie Hall. So today this is your Carnegie Hall. Oh, Mani, Pemeom. Oh, Mani, Pemeom. Oh, Mani, O Mani Pemeom. O Mani So today the topic it's about generosity. Of course, we know the generosity that we can buy. Generosity with money. We give money to someone in difficulty. We give money to help people in difficulties. This is beautiful, of course. But I would like to talk to you about something deeper than that. What we can name the spiritual generosity. A generosity that no money can buy. A generosity who is priceless. The generosity of our calming energy that we can offer to someone. The spiritual generosity of our presence. My friends, when we are stressed, we spend our life to never be alive. We are not alive. We are not present. We are not generous. We see someone, we say, hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? The mind disappears. We spend our life to never be alive, and it's too late when we realize. We realize, for example, when we are facing the death, when we are sick. Suddenly, make the experience when we are sick physically, when we suffer physically, we realize how to be present is a form of spiritual generosity. So, when we go to buy a coffee, we can be generous. We can be present to the person who prepare our coffee. When we are at home, when we live with someone, to be present to the person, to say, how are you today? To be present, I can make a coffee for you. I can cook your breakfast, but I will offer the generosity of my presence. I will be with you. So spiritual generosity, it's also to listen, not to hear, but to listen, to pay attention. For example, me, I love when I meet someone for the first time to really pay attention. When I meet someone for the first time, when I say, hello, I meet you today, I say, I want an empty mind to be present to the person. So the spiritual generosity. But the question is, how is it possible to be generous spiritually when our brain is running all the time? We understand that in theory, in the class, but after when we go back to New York, we forget in 1 second because our brain is running all the time. So how can we offer our presence? How can we calm the mind? This is the main question of our time. Many different approaches exist. As my sister Tashila was explaining, I have the blessing to teach since 12 years for the population incarcerated in Los Angeles. Prisoners, parolees, lifers, men and women, and now kids from juvenile, incarcerated at 9 or 10 years. How can we calm these people? How is it possible? I have the blessing now to become the teacher of SpaceX. I train the astronauts who go to the moon in 2 years. They are so stressed. I train also engineer at Google. I train in a group of 100 CEOs all around the world. When you train CEOs, celebrity, astronaut, prisoners, this is the same question. This is the same brain. The brain is running all the time. So we cannot say to someone stressed, "Oh, my friend, take a deep breath." People don't listen today. You know the attention span today. 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. After 3, we don't listen. We lose our attention. So how is it possible to calm the mind, to help people to be generous spiritually? Again, when Tashi was showing us the Tibetan master, all the Tibetan master explain that meditation means lung. Lung in Tibetan, L-U-N-G, means the transmission of energy. Because all is energy, all is vibration, all is resonance. And when we share a calming energy with anyone, we transmit our calmness to the person. And immediately we modify the vibration of the person. Neuroscientists, since 30 years, confirm what we learn in a monastic life since 3,000 years. When you talk quietly to someone, when you lead a quiet meditation, there is a neuron mirror effect. Immediately, we calm the person. So, how to calm the mind? In our crazy world, it's not to ask an effort. It's not to give tips. It's when we share a profound calming energy. So each of you, you are meditation teachers. Because I wish that after this class, each of you, when you will ask a coffee, you go to a Starbucks, you say, or maybe not Starbucks, but you go to a coffee shop and you ask a tea, a cappuccino, or when someone brings for you a cup of water and you say from your heart, "Thank you for this water." Every situation is an opportunity to train our brain, to modify your life. And I will say, to finish, to reconsider our daily life as a spiritual life. We need to change our daily life. We are too much overthinking. We need to transform our daily life in a spiritual daily life. To share our calming energy every day, in every situation. And this is the awakening. The awakening, it's when we are able to be quiet in New York City. The awakening, it's when we are able to be quiet in a conflict, when someone is unkind, but you keep your calming energy. I can lead a meditation in 1 minute for each of you. Huh? And just we close our eyes. We are sitting down in a comfortable position. We do nothing. Just we are sitting down in a comfortable position. And we observe our mind. Our mind is like a sky, a pure blue sky. And you can see in your mind some emotions like clouds in the sky of your mind. or you can listen some noises in this room, some noises in the street of New York. They are like clouds in the sky of your mind. They have no consistency. So when we visualize our emotions like the clouds in the sky, what can we do? We can dissolve mentally the clouds of our emotion. Visualize the clouds in your mind, the emotions in your mind. You breathe in like a wind and you dissolve the clouds. And immediately the silence, your mind is like a sky. Let's do it again. Breathe in like a wind. Dissolve your emotions. And we stay like that. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3. And when we are quiet in the middle of New York City, we can listen from the sky some chanting. When we meditate like a sky, we become the sky. And we can open our eyes. It's amazing to calm the mind in the middle of New York City with no effort, no exercise, just to feel a calming energy.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for that brilliant chanting. That concludes this week's practice. To support the Rubin and this meditation series, We invite you to become a friend of the Rubin at rubinmuseum.org/friends. If you are looking for more inspiring content, please check out our other podcast, Awaken, which uses art to explore the dynamic paths to enlightenment and what it means to wake up. Available wherever you listen to podcasts. And to learn more about the Rubin Museum's work around the world, visit rubinmuseum.org. Thank you for listening. Have a mindful day.